This special episode of CRM Audio, the Dynamics 365 podcast, is sponsored by Maplytics by Analogic. Maplytics by Analogic is a market-leading certified for Microsoft Dynamics 365 geo-analytical mapping app. Maplytics empowers users with powerful map visualizations and routing capabilities within Dynamics CRM to drive better sales, improve business processes, and engage right customers at the right time. Maplytics now works with Dynamics 365 version 9 and Dynamics 365 app for mobile and tablet. Analogic is a leading Microsoft Gold Dynamics CRM ISV, delivering best-in-class Dynamics 365 solutions, as well as cost-effective and high-quality programming services. So this is a special episode of CRM Audio. This is Joel Lindstrom. I'm here by myself. My cohorts in podcasting are getting ready for the MVP Summit, where I'll be with them next week. But in the meanwhile, I had the pleasure of speaking today for the Canadian CRMUG national meeting. I wasn't there in person, but I was there via Skype meeting. And the topic was Dynamics 365 for marketing. We talked about it a little bit before, a little bit earlier on the podcast. Haven't really shared a lot of details with it, and I've been digging into it with the public preview. And I spoke for about 45 minutes at the CRBG meeting about what it was, what are the main things you need to know, and kind of lessons learned from my testing it out. So first of all, what is it? It is Microsoft's new marketing solution. Now, a lot of people might be confused because we've had marketing inside of CRM since version 3, or even some pieces a little bit before then. And if you went back in your time machine 10 years ago to CRM version 3 and compared what is in the box marketing capabilities with what we have now, there aren't really that many changes. You had campaigns, quick campaigns, marketing lists, and the capabilities of those items are still pretty much the same as they were a decade ago. But the world has moved on. Marketing has changed in a big way, and it's more collaborative marketing, more engaging with customers and prospective customers, not necessarily force feeding your product to people. And so the goal of Dynamics 365 for marketing, primary goal is generate interest and find, nurture, and qualify leads for salespeople. It's built around this concept called the customer journey. Now, you might think of it as a campaign, and it's very similar to a campaign. But as opposed to the campaigns we had in CRM version 3 and 4 and 2011 and so on, those campaigns were very static. And you could have one or more activities. It would send out emails. You could track costs with it, but it was very basic. Whereas a campaign, if you use Click Dimensions or Marketo or some other marketing tool, the modern marketing automation platforms give you a lot more flexibility to have not just a single activity or single blast campaign, but to have a series of events that go through. And from Microsoft Dynamics 365 marketing perspective, that's the journey you go on. Basically planning out whether it's an outbound customer journey where you've got a predefined list of contacts inside the system that you are then targeting, or something coming in from a landing page. It lets you do a very detailed, complex branching logic type flow, taking you through events and driving outcomes based on interactions with clients. The other concept you'll notice is segments. And a segment is what your audience for a campaign is. This is very similar to marketing lists. Marketing lists and segments, basically the end result is it's a list of people. But a segment, it can be more. And segments are synchronized and integrated with customer insights, the new platform for analytics and insight and segmentation coming soon from Microsoft. And this leverages that so you can do a lot more intelligent segmentation. You can also do things like grouping segments. So when you've got marketing lists, you can put multiple marketing lists on a campaign in CRM, but you can't really do and or logic or union them together or inclusive or exclusive type logic. And so they give you the ability to get more complex logic than you do within a marketing list. I should note that marketing lists do still play a role within Dynamics 365 for marketing, though. And that is specifically in the subscribe, unsubscribe. And so within Dynamics 365 marketing, I can create a a subscription center marketing page that has a subscription form where people can opt in and opt out of certain types of communication. You can then feed that to a marketing list, which can be used to exclude people from a customer journey. So that's good to know they've covered the base to comply with the spam laws. So your tiles you have the ability within your customer journey to do common things you might expect, like marketing emails or event-based or marketing page. So for example, somebody clicks on a link on a marketing page and registers, you can trigger things to happen from that. You can trigger it based on when things are updated or use target segments. Then you can do a lot of complex flow control, such as having triggers where based on if they open the email, you go one direction. If they don't open the email, you can have a secondary action. You can split logic where people go down the path and some of them have one outcome based on preferences or type, and then the others go on different paths from the same journey map. So I feel the journey map, the customer journey stuff, is pretty solid. The other thing that strikes me about Dynamics 365 marketing is it doesn't necessarily all feel like a brand new platform, because it's leveraging pieces that we've already seen and touched, such as voice of the customer, such as Dynamics 365 portals. It uses the unified interface. And what separates it from Dynamics marketing that came out a few years ago is that was a totally separate product, totally different UI, totally different security model. This is inside a CRM and can trigger real CRM activities like a phone call activity just as easily as it can trigger an email send through Dynamics 365 for marketing. So we covered a lot of other things like the landing pages. Landing pages use portals and are drag and drop, so you can easily create them. They've got a lot of good templates that come from the Dynamics 365 portals. The lead scoring, I think, looks pretty solid. It's rules-based, where I can say if they open the email, give it 5 points. If the email bounced, take away 10 points. And then we can feed that into a grade. The goal being to help define when a lead is sales ready, meaning I don't want my salespeople wasting time on things that people that don't have any interest. But when based on actions that the people take on clicking emails or visiting websites, we can score the lead. And when it reaches the grade where it's a good lead, then route that to the salespeople so they can handle it. I should talk a little bit about leads, because this is one of the things that surprised me. Dynamics 365 for marketing fundamentally changes the definition of a lead in Dynamics 365. Traditionally, a lead in CRM has been someone who is a suspect, maybe an unqualified prospect that you don't want to put in your contact database. Leads to Dynamics 365 for marketing equal an interest, and they are an existing contact we have. So if somebody signs up on a registration form, it will create them as a contact and create a lead. Or if they're an existing contact, it will associate a lead with them. And the idea here, why that's a big deal, is if you want to use lead scoring, the lead has to be tied to an existing contact. If you use leads for other purposes, you still can do that, but it's not going to trigger the scoring model if the lead's not tied to a contact. I should also mention that in the customer journey stuff, it only works with contacts. So if you market to companies, you're going to have to think through this. You can still trigger things based on values on the company field, and ultimately, whether you sell to contacts or you sell to companies, people buy for people, not people. Companies don't buy. And so, again, you can still handle company relationships, but the actual marketing and the customer journey is going to be contacts at that company. But you can reference company fields inside of email templates, any related type of records. You also, though, can't include lead records themselves in campaigns or customer journeys. You have to have a contact, and then the contacts are what's included. That may change down the road, I'm not sure. And the final thing we talked about was events. And this, to me, I think is as big, or for some companies will be bigger than the actual market sending customer journey stuff. You can basically run a full conference from this, manage sessions and tracks, manage registrations, passes, manage sponsorships, venues, even like logistics of the venues and room dimensions and all that kind of stuff. It's really complete and really kind of surprising to see such a complete event management solution. And so again, it's worth checking out. I would recommend that you go sign up for the private preview if you're interested. I will post my deck from the presentation in the blog post for this episode. This is a short episode, so I appreciate you listening. Stay tuned. We got some great stuff later this week, as well as next week. We will have an At Your Service tomorrow, and we have a great guest on there. And then next week, we have the second episode of Neil Benson's Dynamic Scrum podcast. I really enjoyed the last episode, and looking forward to his next one. This has been CRM Audio, the Dynamics 365 podcast, with Business Solutions MVPs George Dubinsky, Joel Lindstrom, and Sean Tabor. This podcast is a production of Dynamic Podcasts, LLC. Follow us on Twitter at CRM Audio. Subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, or any place else that fine podcasts are available. You can email us at voice@crm.audio with questions or topic suggestions.